The snow was relentless, hammering against the windshield like tiny fists. My headlights cut through nothing but white, avoid swallowing the Alaskan highway. I pulled over, engine humming, heat blasting, hoping the storm would let up. Hours passed. It didn't. Then, I saw it, a truck up ahead. Its lights flickered weakly, barely visible through the haze. I hadn't seen anyone pass for miles, yet there it was, parked crooked on the shoulder, its rear end half buried in snow. I hesitated, fingers tapping the steering wheel. Maybe they were waiting it out, like me. But what if they weren't? I grabbed my flashlight, wrapped my scarf tight, and stepped out. The wind hit like a brick, clawing at my face, stealing my breath. The other truck loomed ahead, its door swinging slightly in the gusts. Snow crunched underfoot as I approached. I called out once, twice, then stopped. My voice disappeared into the wind. No response. The cab was empty, papers scattered across the seats, a thermos on the floor. The driver's side door was open and snow collecting on the mat. Outside, tracks led away from the truck, weaving into the woods. I should have turned back. I knew it, felt it deep in my gut. But something about those tracks, their uneven pattern, like a stumble, drew me forward. Someone might need help. I followed them, my flashlight bouncing in the dark. The snow was knee-deep, and the wind howled, a banshee scream in my ears. The tracks led farther, deeper into the trees. Branches hung low under the weight of the snow, reaching out like skeletal hands. My flashlight flickered. I smacked it, the beam steadying but dimmer now. The tracks became erratic, circling, doubling back. I squinted against the flurry, trying to make sense of them. Then I saw it. A dark shape in the snow ahead. I moved closer. My boots crunched louder, and the sound amplified in the eerie quiet. A man lay half buried, his face down, one arm stretched out as if reaching for something. My breath caught. I crouched and checked his pulse. Nothing. His skin was pale, almost blue. His coat was torn, blood frozen in a jagged line across his back. I froze, the flashlight trembling in my grip. The snow around me felt alive, pressing in from all sides. A shift in the wind, a crunch behind me. I turned, flashlight darting. Nothing, just trees and snow. Heart pounding, I stumbled backward, retracing my steps. My legs screamed with every push through the snow. The wind was louder now, drowning out everything. Or masking it. The tracks I followed were gone, erased by the storm. I had no way to tell if I was alone, no way to know who or what might be out there. When I saw the faint glow of my truck's lights, I ran. The cab door slammed behind me and I locked it, fingers trembling. I sat there, breath fogging up the glass, staring into the storm, waiting for something or someone to emerge. Nothing did. But I didn't drive off until dawn. The wind howled, battering the windows with snow that clung to the glass in jagged, uneven patches. The five of us sat in the lodge's dim main room, huddled around the fireplace. The generator had sputtered out hours ago, leaving us with nothing but firelight and silence. I glanced at the emergency radio on the table. Its battery was almost dead, but we couldn't risk using it until we were sure help was coming. The storm raged on with no sign of easing. The first knock came late, a dull, muffled sound barely audible over the wind. We all froze. "Was that—" someone started, but no one finished the thought. I grabbed a flashlight and moved to the door. The others followed, staying back as I opened it a crack. Cold air slammed into me. The porch was empty, blanketed in fresh snow. "Just the wind," I muttered, closing the door. We tried to laugh it off, but the mood shifted. Conversations died quickly. The storm felt heavier, the shadows longer. Hours passed. We took turns adding wood to the fire, trying to keep the room warm. Then someone noticed the tracks. Boot prints, faint and shallow, circling the lodge just outside the windows. They weren't ours. Panic set in, subtle but growing. We debated what to do. Maybe the prints had been there before, maybe we just hadn't noticed, but deep down, we knew better. The snow was fresh. We locked the doors and pulled furniture to block them. We told ourselves it was enough, but none of us slept. By morning, the storm had only worsened. The tracks outside had multiplied, a looping, erratic pattern. They led to every door, every window, We hadn't seen anyone approach, and yet the evidence was there mocking us. The turning point came when I opened the pantry to grab food. The cans were missing. Not many, but enough to notice. A knife from the kitchen was gone, too. My chest tightened. "Someone's inside," I whispered. No one argued. We searched the lodge, room by room sticking together, and the upstairs bedrooms were empty, but something felt wrong. Too quiet, too cold. In the last room we found it, a small vent, its cover removed, leading to the crawl space. No one wanted to go down there. We barricaded the vent, adding more wood to the doors and windows. The fire burned low, and our wood supply dwindled. We sat in silence, listening. Every creak of the old lodge made us flinch. Every gust of wind sounded like a footstep. The second knock came that night, louder this time. We didn't open the door. We didn't sleep. By the time the storm broke, we were hollow, exhausted. When rescuers finally arrived, we didn't explain much. They found more tracks around the lodge, disappearing into the trees. Whoever or whatever had been out there was long gone. We never went back. The snow hit like shards of glass, stinging and relentless. I tightened my hood, squinting into the whiteout. The beacon's faint signal pulsed steadily on my GPS. "He's close," I said, the words lost in the wind. We'd been out for hours, following Kyle's signal deeper into the wilderness. The storm showed no mercy, dumping fresh layers of snow over the trail. The others followed behind, their shapes blurred by the swirling flurries. The gorge appeared suddenly, a dark void in the endless white. I held up a hand to stop the team, pointing at the drop. My flashlight swept the edge, revealing jagged rocks and sheer ice. The signal led us down into the gorge, where the air felt cold and heavy. We moved slowly, each step crunching over packed snow. The beacon grew stronger, and then we saw it, his backpack half buried near the ledge. "Here!" I shouted, my voice cracked from the cold. I reached it first, brushing off the snow. The straps were torn, the contents scattered. No footprints, just a smear where he might have slid. The others joined me, staring at the ledge. The drop below was steep, disappearing into darkness. "Do we go down?" one of them asked. I didn't answer. The risk was obvious. Fresh snow layered the ledge, unstable and waiting to give. I glanced back at the gorge walls where the wind roared through narrow gaps, carrying the ominous weight of potential avalanches. A sharp crack echoed above us. My heart skipped. The snow shifted underfoot, subtle but unmistakable. "Move!" I barked. We scrambled, leaving the ledge behind. The crack became a roar. I turned once, just in time to see the slope collapse, a wall of snow tumbling down. The ground vibrated, snow spraying in every direction. My legs burned as I pushed forward, the pack heavy on my back. I shouted at the team, but the avalanche drowned everything. I didn't look back again. When it stopped, the silence was deafening. I dropped to my knees, gasping for air. The others emerged one by one, coated in snow but alive. The gorge was unrecognizable, buried under a fresh sheet of white. The ledge was gone. Kyle's signal gone with it. We stood there, staring at the snow. The wind howled again, a reminder that the storm wasn't done. "We have to go," someone said. I nodded, numb. Turning away from the gorge felt like a betrayal, but staying meant death. We climbed out slowly, every step heavier than the last. The storm swallowed us, erasing any sign we'd been there. By the time we reached safety, Kyle's signal was just a memory. Weeks later, they found his body at the base of the gorge. I still hear the roar of the avalanche and still see the empty pack on the ledge. We saved ourselves, but I'll never stop wondering if we could have saved him.